All right, let's open up with a prayer. All brothers remove their head coverings. All sisters pray with their heads covered. And we face the east toward Jerusalem, where our temple was and where our temple in Yashra'al shall return. Brother West, can you open us up in prayer, please?
Abba Father Yahu, Abba Father Yah, I pray to you, we pray to you, Father Yah, covenant Elohim of Abraham, Yeshach, and Yaakov. We pray to you today, Father Yah, and we thank you for once again giving us another chance to come to you and indulge in your word, Father Yah. And we pray that our brothers will speak your word and not their own, Father Yah. And we pray that those you've given ears to hear and eyes to see, Father Yah, will receive your message, Father Yah, and the message being conveyed by your word, Father Yah. And we pray for a good class, Father Yah, a spirit-filled class, Father Yah. We pray that your spirit will be with us, Father Yah, as we get into your word, Father Yah. And we pray that we can utilize your word, Father Yah, to draw closer to you, Father Yah, and to clean ourselves, Father Yah, from all the sin and iniquity and transgressions, Father Yah, and draw closer to you, Father Yah, so that we can become better servants, Father Yah. In Yahshua HaMashiach's holy mighty name we pray. Amen.
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 All right, shalom. My name is Yashra'al, my brother Yashra'al. Shalom. And title of today's Bible study is YAH Code. That's YAH, Y-A-H, YAH Code, C-O-D-E, Part 2. We're going to pick up where we left off on the Shabbat. Before we get started, we'd like to give a special shout out and a thank you to the Mind Culture Forever team with beloved Daweed and the YOC 613 Lifestyle for a wonderful event that they had at the Brew Out at the end of Shabbat. First day, the beginning of the first day, it was a lovely experience. It was a wonderful concert, a great Brew Professionals event. It was the standard. They set the standard of how the brews are supposed to come together, show love for one another, treat each other like family, even strangers you never met before, but have familiarity because you saw how individuals carried themselves. I mean, I ain't seen so many fringes swinging in a long time, and not only just the outward appearance, but the inward Yehudim. It was a lovely event and made us feel at home. They allowed us to come in there with our business, Kodesh Fresh. They allowed us to come in there with our ministry. It treated us like family, and we definitely want to support anything that they do. Gave us free music, gave us 12 hot tracks, soundtracks, for us to listen to and stay motivated in this walk. And like I said, the brother set the standard. So we were proud to be associated and be part of that event. Now, before we get into the class, again, we went over YAH Code, which talks a little bit about, we talked about how David slew Goliath, how he was able to put his body in the line of fire to protect the sheep, to protect the name of Yashra'al. We also talked about the fact that no effeminate men will enter into the kingdom. And then we even went into a little bit about Saul, how when you walk with the manliness that the Spirit puts into you, how even a snake could bite you and it won't affect you. And people would try to worship you, but instead of taking that glory, you turn around and get that back to the Father. So we're going to pick up, we're going to open up in Yohanan chapter 2. And Jonathan, I know you had a little bit of stuff on your heart. You wanted to say, you want to touch on anything?
Oh, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to greater things for my nation. I'm sure you could attest and bear witness to what a great weekend we had.
All praise.
You know, there was a lot of good in it. But you know, every time Yah promotes you, he lifts up a higher standard and requires more from his servants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, anytime he gives us revelation, we become held accountable. We become held accountable for that revelation and insight that we have.
Total.
So, you know, I just implore the men to continue to do their best to uplift our nation, and we can't uplift our nation unless we're doing our best to purify ourselves inwardly, you know, or else we're not qualified to say anything to anyone about anything, because the biggest enemy we have is self. The biggest enemy we have is the one we look at in the mirror, that won't humble themselves to Yah's command, you know, won't submit and bring their thoughts captive to and obedient to walk in his law. And when we're not disciplined, it becomes evident, you know, and it brings our nation into disreport. And we don't need that, you know, or else we're not even going to be worthy to judge the Gentile around us. We're not even going to be worthy to outshine them or even fight against them. We won't be the vessels that he uses, you know. So we definitely just humble ourselves, man. Come before y'all humble, because we need deliverance at this point, you know. With the repetitive, I think, and that's what Asa was talking about in the intro, you know, that right. We make progress, and then the person who made the progress disappears, and then we have to go and break blood all over again, you know, shed blood about the same thing. We make 2 steps, and then the person who was leading the movement goes away, and then there's no progress anymore. We have to start right back from scratch again. And it's like, nah, let's get a collective mind, you know, move forward collectively. And, you know, I see my brother, I see help, I see strength. I see my brother, I see help, I see strength. You know, we watching these videos, cops on people porches, beating up dudes, and it's like, we have no solidarity. Like, we're just like blowing in the wind. You know, we really have to get some structure together. And we've had secular teachers. You know what I mean? We've heard Tupac, and we were motivated by him. We've heard Martin Luther King. We've heard Malcolm X. They've said everything that needs to be said at this point, and now we bringing the commandments in for obedience, and we need to show that it has power. Unless it's like we just reading pages and we're just making idols of ourselves that can't walk, can't hear, can't speak. We're just dumb. No, this stuff got power, and we need to put it to use.
Right. I definitely agree, and you know, I see the same fundamental problem since the beginning, since Shemuel's time, where we looking for a king, we looking for somebody to lead us or judge, to the point where we only going to be righteous when this person is standing before us. But we weren't structured that way. Yah is the king. Yahshua is the head. That's the only head. Everybody else is the body. And after that, it's an order. Respect the elders. The younger brother respects the older brother. You know, the younger sister respects the older sister. Respects the matriarch, the mother. You know, and the mother is the assembly. And if everybody was focused on inwardly working on this fight, because it's Yahshua said, he who endureth to the end is fit for the kingdom. We're going to have to endure through ourselves, like you said, the enemy within ourselves. If we all work on that constantly and continue working on that, we'll be in a better position where we don't have to look for somebody. And then if we're holding each other accountable, then that's the support you need. You don't need to have somebody, you know, standing in the front. Now you have positions, you know, somebody has to be in the front for security. Somebody has to be in the back. It's positions. But what happens when you head in the other direction? Then the other person in the back is in the front. The other person in the back, in the front is in the back. You know, so if we can just learn to deal with that concept and get out of that gang mentality, that camper mentality that you have to, you can't disagree with a leader. You know, it has to be this person's way or that's it. You know, that's lordship. And that's what the Gentiles do. And we got to get out of that and see that it's all about a family and a culture. And this is what we experienced, you know, this weekend, you know, from Shabbat all the way into first day. You know, we experienced that family culture. And unfortunately, everybody's not going to be about that. That's why the prophecy says, you know, a lot of us are going to get wiped out. So we just got to continue doing what we do, move in the right direction. And it's naturally, we're seeing it already happen. Naturally, people of different houses and different assemblies are starting to unite because we're walking on the same path. We're all trying to do the same work. And every one of them got their flaws and the things they working on. But they're putting forth that effort. And you can't blame a man who's putting forth the effort because, again, YAH sees the finished product. We don't. We just see what's in front of us.
You know, Aki, the funny thing, too, is like once we get into government structure and people are relying on men to make proper decisions, right rulings, you know what I'm saying? Where you can't just, oh, you know, he'll figure it out later. Where it's like, no, we need to come to a conclusion now. Just like when we sit in these Gentile courtrooms and they're like, hey, y'all figure out if this man's innocent or guilty or not. You know, it's going to come a time when we're going to have to execute these type of things. And we're going to have to know that we're not asking a brother or a sister something that's way over their heads. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know, like, even on this level, you know, we see this, the Torah, and then here comes Yashra'al talking about, if a man asks you to go 1 mile, go him 2. So then we're all like, yeah, go 2. You can't ask everybody to go 2 miles.
Right.
Like, some people are like, no, 1 is fine. And then, you know, you're like, no, come on. Like, that's not, 1 is the standard. People who are going to 2 are trying to go above and beyond the call. And there's just some people that are just about that life. Like, I'm going to go above and beyond whatever is asked of me. Because baseline, yeah, that's cool. But, like, I was told to store up my riches in the heavens. You see what I'm saying? And I was told how to do it. I was told to let people talk mess about you and forgive them on top of it. I was told not to return reviling for reviling. If people want to revile, they have that. Like, naturally, yo, get that man. Don't let him talk about you like that. You know what I'm saying? But then Yashra'al was like, nah, stay mute. So certain things you got to just like, all right. But you don't know that it's stacking up your spirit. You know, like, Yashra'al don't want it to be something like everybody sees your status. Like when you play video games, like he's at a level 9. Like, you looking at folks, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he wants it like that. Because he didn't want us like glorying in every little thing that we do, because then it's not going to be genuine no more. Same way he says, when you pray, don't pray in public, go in your closet. Because I want this thing to be internal. So those of us who are prepared and have cultivated that mind of, I'm a secret servant. Like if you have secret service, like I'm a secret servant. Like I'm deliberately doing these like bonus levels that were in this book.
Right.
Not everybody is trying to go that extra mile, and we have to know who ain't really about that, you know, gaining works and going that extra mile. And because sometimes you can break people like that. You know, you're asking them way too much. They still haven't gotten the basics. Like, have you learned to even listen to your brother when he asks to go
before me?
Yeah. Have you learned to listen to your brother when he's even asked you to go somewhere? You know, like, do you just ignore them when you're asked to do something? So then you have those who are ready to go the half mile. You have those that are ready to go 3/4 mile. You have those that make the mile. Then you have those that are like, come on, brother, let's go to the next 2. What? Nobody told us to go to the next 2. Nah, it's cool though. We can still, you know what I'm saying? So.
Calm. All right. Shalom to YAH. Shalom, brother Ari Yehuda Dahu. Good to see you, family. All praises. And let's go ahead and open up in Yohanan, John, chapter 2, and let's start this at verse 1.
And the 3rd day there was a marriage in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Yashra'al was there. And both Yashra'al was called and his disciples to the marriage. And when they wanted wine, the mother of Yashra'al said unto him, they have no wine. Yashra'al said unto her, Woman, what have I to do with you? My hour is not yet come.
He's like, yo, you ain't got no wine. What do I look like? I'm a carpenter. What I look like? What you mean? Like, come on, you trying to bust me out already? You know, because she knew what time it was with Yahshua. Go ahead.
Wow. It's funny. That's a funny request to make.
Yeah, because she know the power that he has. And this is Yahshua who the Spirit just descended on him like a dove. So she know there's a different continence about this man, just like there should be a different continence about you when you take your immersion and you start to walk in the Holy Spirit and the Spirit of Yashra'al. So he's like, yo, you really about to set it off right now?
Verse 5. His mother said unto the servants, whatsoever he said unto you, do it. And there were set there 6 water pots of stone, after the manner of the purifying of the Yehudim, containing 2 or 3 foreskins apiece. Yahshua said unto them, fill the water pots with water, and they filled them up to the brim. And he said unto them, draw out now, and bear unto the governor of the feast. And they bare it. When the ruler of the feast had tasted the water that was made wine, and knew not where it was, because the servants which drew the water knew, the governor of the feast called the bridegroom and said unto him, every man at the beginning does set forth good wine, and when men have well drunk, then that which is worse. But you have kept the good wine until now. This beginning of miracles did Yahshua in Cana of Galilee, and manifested forth his glory, and his disciples believed on him. After this he went down to Capernaum, he and his mother and his brethren and his disciples, and they continued there not many days.
So this is the first miracle that Yahshua does. This is what the gifts of the Holy Spirit does. When you become immersed, it unlocks certain gifts that you have to accentuate the walk that you're supposed to do forward. And it's no coincidence. We brought this up in the Shabbat. Like, look where he's doing his first miracle, a marriage feast. They're celebrating a union that has been confirmed. It's celebration. And he's like, you know, he didn't have to really make any believers, but this is how much the Most High esteems the union of marriage, to the point where he's allowing his son to do a miracle as far as bringing forth wine. So that also goes to show you that, you know, Yahshua not going to give these people something that's bad for them. Go ahead.
Verse 13. And the Yehudim's Passover was at hand, and Yahshua went up to Jerusalem, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting.
Now it says the Yehudim's Passover was at hand. Does anybody have any opinion or idea why it would be called the Yehudim's Passover? Why wouldn't they just say Pesach?
They must have kept it differently.
Kept it differently. That's one. Anybody else?
Were they keeping the wrong days?
Possibly. I mean, we know Yahshua kept a different Passover than the Yehudim's Passover, which we know would have been according to the Sanhedrin. But anybody familiar with that area, the African culture, are Yehudim the only people that do Passover?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's other nations that do Passover too. Some people do it in different times. They could say Passover from the fall to the winter to spring. You know, so again, we are separate. We are separated from the other nations. Other people keep Passover. Other people do different things. They might have a different name for it, but they have that understanding of Passover, the time passing over one to the next. So they're accentuating that this is the Yehudim. This is a set apart. This is a separate Passover. And then also, you all both brought up good points. They did different Passover at different times because Yahshua kept it different than them. And he drops little clues like, ain't there 12 hours in a day, and all these different things to let you know they're working on a different calendar. You go in Flavius Josephus, you see that the Jewish people at that time were keeping Judaism. They were keeping Passover according to the lunar calendar, which would be completely change the dates, because you're looking at a 354-day calendar or a 383 and a half or 84-day calendar versus a 364-day calendar. Go ahead.
Verse 14, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and the changers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables, and said unto them that sold doves, take these things here, make not my father's house a house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of your house has eaten me up. Then answered the Yehudim and said unto him, what sign show you us, seeing that you do these things? Yeshua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and I will raise it in 3 days.
And there goes again, us always requiring a sign to do the right thing. Why can we just not keep the commandments? If this is the feast of the Passover, this is the 15th of Abib. This is a Shabbathon. You ain't supposed to be selling and doing all these different things. What you got money in here for? So, you know, either way, if this was the preparation or this was the actual matzah day one, why are you bringing this inside the temple? Why are you waiting on the day of? You're supposed to, according to the law, you're supposed to have that lamb from what, the 10th day? And then you kill it on what, it was the 12th day or not the 12th? You don't kill it. You kill it on the 14th day. So why are you coming here doing all this? So you see, this is Yahshua, a man who's patient, who's not here to judge anybody, do anything. But when it comes to offending his father in his father's house, this is what a son does. Are you telling me you're going to come in my father's house and disrespect my dad's house? Nah, it ain't going down. You can say whatever you want to say to me. I don't care. But I'm going to respect. I'm going to defend Abba. I'm going to defend my mother, which is the assembly, the people in the assembly. He's going to defend Jerusalem. So this is not Jesus here. Jesus smile and he wink at you. This is Yahshua, the Hebrew, who keeps the commandments. What did he do? He scourge of small cords and start whipping folks, kicking over tables. He didn't say, hey, sir, can you kindly put this away? No, you know better. Because how did you get this in here? You got this in here because leadership let you get this in here. He went hard anytime he dealt with the leadership. That's Yah code. You don't go hard on these women. Why are these women in here doing this and doing that? Nah.
Why the men allowing it?
Exactly. You deal with the head. If I see a woman out of order, the first thing Yahshua gonna ask, where your husband at? When that woman, even when the woman wasn't out of order and she was trying to do something that was a good thing, give me some of that living water. He said, go get your husband. Oh, I ain't got no husband. Nah, you done had 5. But that dude who you sleeping with, who you claiming, that's what you, go get that dude because he gonna cover you. Come on. But he didn't go hard on these women. So this is the example. The woman who was caught in the very act of adultery, which is death penalty. And that's righteous to kill that woman. If it was righteous judgment, it's righteous. But he said, sin no more. Go, sin no more. I'm not gonna condemn you. But look how he dealt with the Pharisees. He about 3 or 4 pages of red writing. Woe to you, woe to you, woe to you. But what the sinners that were out in the street? How did he deal with the dude that had all those spirits in him, legion?
Freedom.
He freed him. He didn't sit there, oh, you wicked. He don't pick on the lowly. He don't pick on the people that don't have the power and the control. He goes straight to the head. Just like I said in the last class. How do you kill a snake? You cut the head off. Go ahead, Op.
Verse 21, but he spoke of the temple of his body. When therefore he was risen from the dead, his disciples remembered that he had said this unto them, and they believed the scripture and the words which Yahshua had said. Now when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover and the feast day, many believed in his name when he saw the miracles which he did. But Yahshua did not commit himself unto them because he knew all men, and needed not that any should testify of man, for he knew what was in man.
All right, so you see, this was the 14th, around this time, but he's upholding the Shabbat on a different day than them. He's saying, don't even bring this in here. So he's obviously keeping a different date than them. Just like when you go to what they call the Last Supper, which was actually a Passover meal, he's keeping the days differently. All right, and as each year goes by, those dates are going to spread even more and more and more further apart because of the moon cycle. All right, so let's move on. Let's go to Judges chapter 4. Judges chapter 4. So when you say YAH code, you know, it's also a man manning up. But at the same time, YAH code also involves the woman not dealing with men that don't want to man up. Doesn't mean that you kick your people away and you cast them away. No, you hold your men accountable. And it don't have to be your husband. So you're going to see this sister here who had a righteous husband, who had a husband who was a prophet, Lapidoth, I believe. She holding men of leadership accountable. Did not YAH tell you to go accomplish this feat? Did he not tell you this? So why are you not doing this? So that's the difference between the Hebrew woman, the virtuous Hebrew woman, and the Jezebel. The Jezebel want to do what she want to do, and she gonna do it in unrighteousness. But the virtuous woman, she's gonna speak in the authority of YAH when it's applicable, because YAH, your head, Yahshua, this word, our husband and our head overrules any sovereign man on this earth. So she's not overruling you. YAH overruled you. All she's doing is speaking the truth.
Judges, Shophatim, chapter 4 and verse 1. And the children of Yashra'al again did evil in the sight of Yahweh when Ehud was dead. And Yahweh sold them into the hand of Jabin, king of Canaan, that reigned in Hazor, the captain of whose host was Sisera, which dwelt in Harosheth of the Gentiles.
All right, so there's the key word in there. When Yashra'al again did evil in the sight of Yahweh when Ehud was dead, and Yahweh sold them into the hand of Jabin, the king of Canaan. Now we back slaves again under rulership of the Canaanites. So this is the reason why we are slaves here. He tell you point blank how easy it is. Why? This is what happens. This is why we not sovereign. We not sovereign because we not keeping the commandments. We not upholding his law. Why are you going to put wicked people in charge? Now, if he going to allow another nation to be in charge, he's going to use that to be chastening to the children of Yashra'al. And shalom, Chad, hair weaver killer Robinson. Hair weave killer Robinson. Shalom to the kings in Augusta, and shalom Yafi Yehuda. Good to see y'all, family. And I missed a brother. I apologize. Shalom.
Verse 3. And the children of Yashra'al cried unto Yahweh, for he had 900 chariots of iron, and 20 years he mightily oppressed the children of Yashra'al. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Lapidoth, she judged Yashra'al at that time. And she dwelt under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim. And the children of Yashra'al came up to her for judgment.
So why they got to go to this woman for judgment?
Seeing that they did evil in the sight of Yahweh, the men weren't doing righteous judgment.
It's so bad that they have a woman judging, which is out of order. A woman was more righteous than the righteous leaders of the community, to the point where y'all's not going to say, listen, if this woman wants to uphold, she wants to carry the torch that her husband upheld, well, you just going to have to deal with that. But that's out of order. We're the elders. Mm-hmm. We're the princes. We're the captains. We're the Levites. Where are all these people at? But again, we did evil in the sight, to the point, obviously, the leadership is doing evil if the people are doing evil. Because the people are going to do what the leadership is doing. So this not this woman lording over or trying to be, in charge of men or trying to push people down and do this and do that. She did it out of pure necessity, just like Yehudith did it, out of pure necessity, because the men was afraid and weak.
Verse 6, and she sent and called Barak, the son of Abinoam, out to Kadesh Naphtali, and said unto him, has not Yahweh Elohim of Yashra'al commanded, saying, go and draw toward Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men of the children of Naphtali and of the children of Zebulun? And I will draw unto you the river Kishon, Sisera, the captain of Jabin's army, with his chariots and his multitude, and I will deliver him into your hand. And Barak said unto her, If you will go with me, then I will go. But if you will not go with me, then I will not go.
What kind of spirit is that? And his name means blessing. You telling me it's time to go to war, and you telling a woman who doesn't fight. Our women don't go to war. Now, our women should train. Don't get me wrong. Our women should know how to defend themselves, because when we go to war, who's going to defend the children? But at the same time, we don't put our women on the forefront. That's what wicked nations do. Why would you ask a woman, you have to go with me to go to war? What kind of spirit is that? Go ahead.
Verse 9, and she said, I will surely go with you, notwithstanding the journey that you take shall not be for your honor. For Yahweh shall sell Sisera into the hand of a woman. And Deborah arose and went with Barak to Kadesh. And Barak called Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up with 10,000 men at his feet, and Deborah went up with him.
You telling me 10,000 men are with you, and you need a woman to be with you? So this is, see again, by no means, this is our bloodline. So I know these are not soft brothers. This is a spirit of fear. This is the spirit that Yah will put on you if you do not carry your vessel properly. He will make you afraid. Would it be Elohim if it was day? Would it be Elohim if it was night? If you don't put your body in the forefront and say, listen, I'm just going to show up. And Yah's will going to be done. Yah say go this way, I'm going to go this way. Okay, you want to be scary? Then you showing me you want to be a scary vessel. Big, strong Israelite men, 10,000. That ain't enough? All right, here. We're going to make an example out of you. I'm going to embarrass your nation, because this nation going to be delivered one way or another. Because Yah is not going to go back on his prophecy. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, Aki, the faith level dropped. The faith level dropped. It's pretty clear that, after all that rebellion, because it says right there in the beginning, the children of Yashra'al again did evil in the sight of Yahweh.
Again, it wasn't like the first time.
So It's just these men in this wishy-washy spirit they got, like, yeah, we're going to serve Yahweh, but, it's better to praise Ashtaroth and Molech. You need these other, and the intellect just drove them nuts. You see what I'm saying? And now it's time for you to go and have faith to go to war, and you don't know if this dude's trying to rationalize, like, look, we don't really need war. We don't really. And then the faith level just dropped. Like, no one's trusting in Yah wholeheartedly. There's no Davids on the scene. There's no Dawids. Like, who's this uncircumcised fool? Ain't nobody outraged. It's just limp-handed.
Right.
No fervent belief in the power of Yah to deliver anymore. So now somebody talks like, yeah, go up and fight these people who've been oppressing you for 20 years. You're like, only if you come, you the only glimmer of hope and light of Yah that we know. And I guess that's the judgment, that Yah placed was for blindness to come upon them, for them to feel uncovered and unprotected. Because I remember that feeling of, not feeling like the Most High is in your life.
Right.
Not feeling like your prayers are being answered. Like, if you pray, are you really being heard? And it's real. So that means it really dropped to that level. So when she spoke, it was like, I don't have no faith unless you're there.
Right. Because you could evidently see there was no lack of faith in her.
And no lack of faith in her.
And when you put a woman in an unnatural position by allowing her to head you, usually, and it didn't say it in here, but I'm pretty sure there's some lust involved in here. I'm talking about as far as the men wanting to please a woman so bad to the point where now this woman is leading you because of your lust. That had to be involved in here some kind of way.
Verse 10. Is that verse 10? Verse 10. And Barak called to Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh, and he went up with 10,000 men at his feet, and Deborah went up with him. Now Heber the Kenite, which was of the children of Hobab and the father-in-law of Moshe, had served himself from the Kenites. Severed himself from the Kenites and pitched his tent unto the plain of Zanaim, which is by Kadesh. And they showed Sisera that Barak the son of Abinoam was gone up to Mount Tabor. And Sisera gathered together all his chariots, even 900 chariots of iron, and all the people that were with him, from Harosheth of the Gentiles unto the river of Kishon. And Deborah said unto Barak, Up, for this day This is the day in which Yahweh has delivered Sisera into your hand. Is not Yahweh gone out before you? So Barak went down from Mount Tabor, and 10,000 men after him. And Yahweh discomfited Sisera and all his chariots and all his host with the edge of the sword before Barak, so that Sisera lighted down off his chariot and fled away on his feet.
So the same spirit of fear that he put on the children of Yashra'al, he can put that on your enemy. So it's not about you. It's about showing up. The word is a spirit. It needs a body to make it real here in the flesh. It needs a body. So all we have to do is just provide the body. That's what a vessel is. It's just like a diamond that needs to be carried somewhere. It needs a vessel to be in, to keep in, or else the diamond just going to be on the floor. So a lot of times we look at a situation and we trying to judge based on our understanding whether we can go up against an enemy. But ultimately, if Yah said do it, you should be like Deborah. You should be a prophet. I already got the victory because Yah said go do this. And the victory is whatever Yah's will is. The problem is we want our will to be done. We want it to end the way we want it to end. Sometimes it need to end for a loss for you. Sometimes a loss is the best thing that happened to you. Just when we were training just on Sunday, I caught a wicked overhand. And I took that as a loss. But at the end of the class, I was able to talk to the instructor because this has been a problem with me for a while. How do I overcome this? And out of that loss, he was able to show me, oh, this is how you see it coming. This is how you block it. This is how you set it up. So I learned from that. So maybe when I'm with my brothers that love me, so maybe if I'm out in a situation I got to defend my family, it won't be a loss for me. But what folk will do is just quit and stop. No, I'm not going to do it because I don't want to take the loss. Or I don't want to take the embarrassment. And that's what it was more. It was more embarrassment than a loss. It was embarrassment. Nobody liked to get hit. But we got to put our bodies in front and allow the Spirit to use it in whatever capacity and trust Yah that he going to defend his vessel.
Yeah, and it becomes clear why, the priest had to go and counsel these men out of fear. Don't fear. Anyone scared, go home because you go get everybody else out here scared. Go out there with the fervor of Yah.
It's a spirit.
Ready to overcome. Imagine your enemy already being demolished because Yah is just that powerful. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And know who your enemy is.
Verse 13. And Sisera... Oh, no, we're on 16, right?
Yeah.
Verse 16. But Barak pursued after the chariots and after the host unto Harosheth of the Gentiles, and all the host of Sisera fell upon the edge of the sword, and there was not a man left. Howbeit Sisera fled away on his feet to the tent of Yael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. For there was peace between Yabin the king of Hazor and the house of Heber the Kenite. And Yael went out to meet Sisera, and said unto him, Turn in, my master, turn in to me, fear not. And when he had turned in unto her into the tent, she covered him with a mantle. And he said, Give her. And he said unto her, Give me, I pray you, a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. And she opened a bottle of milk and gave him drink and covered him. And again he said unto her, Stand in the door of the tent, and it shall be when any man does come and inquire of you, and say, Is there any man here? You shall say, No. Then Yael, Heber's wife, took a nail of the tent, and took a hammer in her hand, and went softly unto him, and smote the nail into his temples, and fastened it to the ground, for he was fast asleep and weary, so he died. And behold, as Barak pursued Sisera, Yael came out to meet him, and said unto him, Come, and I will show you the man whom you seek. And when he came in unto her tent, behold, Sisera lay dead, and the nail was in his temples. So Elohim subdued on that day Yabin the king of Canaan before the children of Yashra'al. And the hand of the children of Yashra'al prospered and prevailed against Yabin the king of Canaan until they had destroyed Yabin king of Canaan.
All right, so Yah is making an example here. He's showing a second witness. The first witness is he had a woman hold the children of Yashra'al accountable to make them go do the works of Yah, because this is the works of Yah. Then he had another woman actually do the dirty work and actually take out the king. So that's two witnesses that he will use any vessel he has to. If the men don't want to step up, he will use a woman to keep us in line. Now imagine if the woman didn't say, hey, listen, did not YAH tell you to do this? It would have went from 20 years to who knows, to 40 years, 60 years, 70 years. So she's the reason why this is being overcome, because all she did was hold the man to a higher standard. She didn't go out there and fight. She didn't pull out a sword. She didn't stab him. She didn't cuss him out or nothing. She said, no. Did not YAH, what did YAH tell you? Not what did I tell you? Did not tell you? No, she said, what did YAH say? And this is how you got to deal with your men. When you got a man that's not trying to operate according to the commandments, you say, what did YAH say? Sometimes that's enough to snap a man out of whatever fleshliness or whatever spirit he's in. If he doesn't want to blaspheme the Most High, if he wants to honor the Most High, and that's what he might do majority of the time, but he's a human like anybody else. But when you call that out, and this is what my teacher showed me, he said sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to put that demon in a corner where a person got to make a choice. Either they going to blaspheme YAH or they going to let go of that demon. And this is what she did. She called him out. She didn't have to Jezebel him. So this is what this is what the woman has to do. Use her femininity, because a man is not going to want to look like a punk in front of his woman, or a woman. This wasn't his woman, but a woman, especially a virtuous woman. Look how the brothers treat sisters when they got their heads covered. They got their fringes on. They walking in righteousness. They carrying themselves the proper way. Men don't go up there, hey, shawty, hey, sexy. Men won't do that. Chanel, have you experienced that?
What?
Where men just, you dressed like you normally dress, and men just come up to you and trying to talk to you like you some street woman?
Nope, never.
They don't do that. But you dress like everybody else, or even dress like work attire, all that. People will do that. And it's not to say that, to knock a man for trying to do everybody in different places. But no matter what place they in, when they see our women dressed like that, they know, wait a minute, this is a set apart woman. Even if she's not even Hebrew, she might be Muslim or whatever. So we got to start, again, I don't put this on the woman. It's not the woman's responsibility, but you got to use the influence that you do have to hold your man accountable, your father, your brother accountable, your assemblymen accountable. Let's go to Matthew chapter 16. And we're going to read verses 21 through 28. It was crazy. I had wrote this class from last week and was talking to brother Israel, and I was telling him, he was telling me about his dreams and everything like that. And I told him about this dream that I had. I'm not going to go all into it. It'd be kind of drawn out, but ultimately he brought up this scripture right here, and it was crazy that it happened to be in the same class. He said, you know what, your dream meant this, and he gave the tie-in, good news that Yashra'al was given in here, and it tied right in, and you just see how the spirit works. It's amazing, how everything could just tie in before its place to show you that we're not doing anything. We think we creating something, but at the end of the day, we walking right according to this script. We're going to be according to this script one way or another. Either we're going to be those that are going to be in wickedness, which it talks about according to the scripture, people are going to do that, or we're going to be those people that are going to repent according to this script.
Matthew chapter 16, beginning at verse 21.
Yes, and we're going to read this verse 28.
From that time forth began Yahshua to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed and be raised again the third day.
So it ain't the people that are killing him. Yeah, they're responsible too, but it's these leaders, the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes. Once again, that's who he's placing the blame on. But everybody else, he's like, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. But these leaders, he going hard on. He's putting the responsibility on them. So when something goes wrong, that's who the responsibility is on. Now, everybody who plays a part, every man going to reap what they sow. But at the end of the day, majority of the people are sheep. They can't see that far until their eyes are opened up. Go ahead.
Verse 22, then Kepha took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from you, master, this shall not be unto you. But he turned and said unto Kepha, get you behind me, Satan. You are an offense unto me, for you savor not the things that be of Elohim, but those that be of men.
So you can't take it personal. You can't take it personal. Now, this is Kepha. This is his original name was Shimeon. And he changed his name to Kepha because he said, you are going to be the rock. Upon you am I going to build this assembly. But at the same time, how does this look like a bad statement? He's saying, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? No, be it far from me. He's saying this out of the goodness of his heart. But again, all lies are bad. I don't care if it's a good intention lie or a bad intention lie. It's a lie. And it's emboldened Yahshua to feel like maybe I don't have to do this hard task that I got to do, when his father told him what he had to do. So Yahshua understands I'm dealing with spirits. It's not flesh and blood. It's spiritual wicked in high places. So he said, no, it's the adversary. Adversary, I rebuke you. You an offense. He's not talking about Kepha. He wouldn't build his rock on the adversary, the devil. So we got to understand that when we deal with one another, when you see generally somebody is trying to walk in righteousness, trying to serve the Most High, trying to repent, he's a human being like anybody else. He's just an empty vessel that can either contain the Holy Spirit, the spirit of Yashra'al, or an evil spirit, an evil angel. So you don't throw away the vessel. You try to expel the evil that's in them. But you can't do that sometimes by being all lovey-dovey and nice. Nah, call a spade a spade. If you see somebody dealing with an evil spirit, call it out, because it don't belong there.
Verse 24, then said Yahshua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his stake and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
So whoever will save his life shall lose it. Whoever says, you know what, I want to keep this old way. I like this. This is comfortable. It made me a lot of money. It got me a lot of women. It got me a lot of friends. It got me a lot of fame. It made me feel good about how I'm doing. I didn't have to feel like, oh, I'm on shaky ground. I better correct myself, because if I don't, I'm in danger of the kingdom. Whoever want to save that and don't want to say, nah, that dude got to die. Yeah, he has some good characteristics, but y'all going to sort out those good characteristics. You're going to put it in his right place. But that person got to die. Whoever say, no, I don't need to. I know, this is the wrong name. This is Jesus. And there's none other name in which we can be saved. But now I want to save that same person. I want to feel comfortable in that. Nah, that person got to die. Anything that was associated with that lie got to die. So the new thing can be created, so it can be used the way it needs to be used. And also, you got to be willing to put that body, once you take that spirit, you have returned, you have given it back to the Father. I had it for myself. I'm giving it back to you, this body. And I'm yielding that to your will. And whatever happens, happens. I'm not going to go try to run in the middle of the street and don't look both ways and just kill myself. That's testing Elohim. Yahshua said, no, I don't test Elohim. But you got to be able to say, if the commandments say I need to go right, it look dangerous, y'all. I might not run there, but I got to do what I got to do. And I got to trust the will of the Most High, that he don't just want to kill off all his children for no reason. How's that going to benefit him, just to kill you off for no reason when you're trying to do good works?
Verse 26, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. So
you are going to be rewarded according to your works, according to your deeds. Your works ain't just, hey, I helped build this hospital. I gave, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches out on the Sabbath day to a lot of people. No, what were your deeds? Because this goes right back to the elder's favorite saying, get away from me, you worker of iniquity, lawlessness. I never knew you. You did a lot of nice deeds. But when it came to honor me, you didn't want to honor me with your obedience. Go ahead.
Verse 28, verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom.
All right, let's move on. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 12. because, you know, this is a hard walk, especially for the women. I believe this is a harder walk for women in this society than it is for men, because, you know, the women is Lord. They giving all the power to the women. They telling you, listen, you don't have to listen to your man. I'll be your head. The government will be your head. I'll pay you to get rid of this man. I'm going to pay you more money at work to disrupt your household. I'm going to sleep with you and make you, you know, my piece. And you don't have to deal with the black man. That's difficult for a woman who's been hurt by her so-called brother. That's difficult for her. She was never intended to be a head. She wasn't built for that. That's like taking your heart and putting it outside of your chest. Your heart is very important and it's very durable, but it wasn't meant to be outside of the rib cage. So it's very, very hard walk. It's a hard, hard walk. But despite all this, you have not resisted unto blood. So it ain't that hard for you until you bleeding for this word. Then you can say, man, this is hard, man. This is hard, man. I'm sitting here busted up and bleeding. You know, they left me. They thought I was dead. They done stoned me to death. They done stomped me like I was watching that the Rodney King riots or whatever in the 90s where they done stoned Reginald Denny. That's hard when you sitting there and they did that to you because you said, hey, keep the commandments. Pop, 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 pop. That's a hard life. We haven't done that. All he said is keep the commandments. And you lost a couple friends and you couldn't go to the 2-for-1 sale on the Saturday. That ain't hard. We make it hard because we want what we want. And we want to envy the wicked. We want what they have. And we place more value on material things than we place on eternal life with everything, with every material thing that was ever invented. And things that you don't even know exist.
Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1. Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which does so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
What's that word for weight? Every weight.
3591.
All right. G3591.
G3591.
It's talking about lay aside every weight. I want to make sure I understand that word.
Okos.
Mm-hmm.
Probably from the same as akale, a mass as bending or bulging by its load, i.e. burden, hindrance, weight.
All right. So this is like everything that's holding you down, that's pressing you down, that's causing you to sin because this is just too heavy. I just want this money so bad. And it's so hard for me not to go do this thing, not to steal, not to lie.
Brother Yashra'al says sound went out.
Sound went out on what? On the phone?
Not sure.
I guess he's talking about Facebook.
Oh, okay. Oh, he hit the mute button. Okay. Well, Total, you know, Facebook been messing with us. And Shalom, Brother Israel. Facebook been messing with us for a while anyway, so it could have probably went out. You know, we did get some messages that we were having some Wi-Fi issues. So yeah, most definitely. Even if you think it's it might be a mistake, let us know, because we've been having issues. Mm-hmm. But like I was saying, anything that's holding you down from standing yashar, upright, let that go. Let it go. And a lot of times that burden is our own mind frame. The things that, the lies that the adversary tells us, the lies that may have been true in the past, but are not true now. You know better. When you know better, you do better. When you didn't know better, you didn't know any better. But now that you know better, you do better. So you're not that same person. And your mind wants to tell you, no, you're that same person because you look in the mirror and you see the same person. But are you the flesh that you see in the mirror, or are you that newborn spirit that's inside? Let those weights go. Let that pain go. Let that guilt go. Keep a humble and contrite spirit. Keep that. But let the pain go. Because at the end of the day, Yahshua took that pain for you. He took that blood for you so that you can say, you know what? Hey, I did all this wickedness and I got all this sin weight on me, but I can just let go of this book bag and keep going. I'm going to be all right. I don't need nothing in that bag. That's why he said when it's time to go, don't go back and get nothing. You don't need none of that weight. I got a place for you. If you know the place you going has everything you need and you trust Yah in the journey, you ain't got to grab all those things with you. It's going to slow you down. And it's going to be like hinder your walk because you don't know if you're going to make it. And I got to take all this stuff with me.
Verse 2, looking unto Yahshua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the stake, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim.
So he showed you and showed us the format, how we got to do it. You got to take that thing like a man, just like when that's bow. You just got to, what are you going to do, fall? You going to fall? You just going to quit? You got to eat that pain. You got to take it and be like, I'm still here. I'm not dead. But I didn't fall. I finished. You got to take that pain in your life. This is what makes you a man. That's YAH code. We took it in the streets. We took it when daddy spanked us with that belt. We hooped and hollered, but we still took it. So this is what we got to do. We got to endure that burden, the burden that you're going to have by trying not to be as the world, because you're in the world. So those same rules apply to you, but you don't have to be of the world. You're going to get the shame. You're going to get all that, but you want to be on the right side of the Father, not on the left, because he said he's going to place the sheep on the right. And what he going to place on the left? The goats. That goat, that Baphomet, that Illuminati, Boule, all that crap. He gonna put them because they don't belong with the sheep. So he set the standard. He showed you, and he's saying, I need you to do this because you're the body. If the head goes this way and the body goes that way, that's decapitation. You're being removed. So you got to follow that same and just thank Yah. You don't have to suffer like he did, because if we suffer the same way he suffered, we'd be like that man next to him. Hey, look here, man. You didn't deserve this. I did. Remember me. Remember me when you go up there, because I stole, even though you shouldn't get death penalty for stealing. But still, he said, look, I'm a sinner, so I can understand why I'm up here. So whatever you got to bear, he gave us the pathway. He gave us the how you do it. You accept it, you take it, and you try to, and you believe that if you endure through it, that you're going to be on the right hand, you're going to receive life after death, just like your big brother received it. Go ahead.
Verse 2, looking unto Yahshua, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the stake, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of Elohim. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest you be wearied and faint in your minds.
So that contradiction is sin causes death. He didn't sin. That's a contradiction. How he dying if he didn't sin? He gave up his life. Go ahead.
You have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin.
And you got to keep that in your mind. Your mind is, your body can go a certain distance, but your mind will shut down before your body goes. And when you train, you'll see this. And everybody takes advantages. Football coaches, track coaches, everybody. Your mind will break first, and your body can continue. When you think you can't go any further, your body can still go further. It's the same thing. We see this in atonement on Kafarim. I'm so hungry, I gotta eat. That's your mind. Your body, man, you can go, technically you can go days without eating. But your mind wants to crack. So that means you have to get in your mind and you have to tell yourself, I can go further. I can go further. That goes right back to the training we did. We're going to have a whole lot of training things now since we training again. Yeah. It's been a year since I've been training. So we're going to hear a lot of this stuff again. When we finished that strength and conditioning and that second one was over, everybody was tired. And my mind said, he gave us an out. Let's go. But none of the brews quit. All the brews, it was all brews. All the brews is like, nah, we ain't quitting. We Israel. We can't quit. Because we can keep going. Because your body can keep going. And another brother, he couldn't make it. That's all right. He going to continue training. He had to sit down. But that's all right. His brothers kept going. As long as your brothers keep going, we can stave them off till you can get some breath. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And you have forgotten the exhortation which speaks unto you as unto children. My son, despise not you the chastening of Yahweh, nor faint when you are rebuked of him. For whom Yahweh loves, he chastens and scourges every son whom he receives.
So consider that love. If you getting dealt with, if you crying at night, consider that love. Because at the end of the day, he could leave you where you were and you would be thinking that everything you doing is just fine. And wouldn't that be the worst thing? That he just left you where you were and then all of a sudden it's time for judgment. He's like, nope. Well, why you didn't say nothing? I did. I wrote it in that book. Well, why you didn't slap me, do something, knock me down, let me know? Go ahead, Brother West.
This is probably an elementary question. I might have asked it before, but how do you discern between chastening and an attack?
Okay. Can anybody attack you unless Yahweh allows it?
No.
Is there anybody in this room who hasn't committed sin?
No.
All right. So you just meditate on that a little bit. Now, again, it can be an attack if you don't want to use it. Because you're going to get attacked. Yahshua was attacked. He wasn't being chastened. But we don't want to put ourselves in that mind frame like we ain't do nothing wrong.
Right.
You want to learn from everything. You humble. That's being humble. Even if it is an attack. You know what I'm saying? You know it's an attack. Even chastening is an attack. The children of Israel were being attacked. But that was chastening because they were doing evil. And if you're in your righteousness, then praise Yah that I'm suffering for righteousness' sake. If you're in your wickedness, praise Yah that he's chastening me so that I can correct my behavior. But the last thing you want to do is assume because you ain't do nothing wrong right now or you're not seeing anything wrong in your behavior right now that you just innocent being attacked, because now you're going above and beyond. Like Jonathan said, you can hit the baseline level here. You did what you're supposed to do. But that person that's going above and beyond saying, listen, yeah, I think I'm doing something right. I'm going to continue doing right, but I know there's more that I could be doing right. And I'm going to learn from this because it got my attention. Attack is going to get your attention or you get knocked out. Point blank. Go ahead. You had something else you want to add?
No.
And you know we being attacked. He told us point blank. You're going to be attacked. The adversary is a roaring lion looking to whom he may devour. So you're going to be attacked. You think the adversary he attacked Yahshua? There's the format right there. But guess what? When he attacked Yahshua, if he would have took Yahshua down, it'd have been game over for all of us. But he fled. He fled from Yahshua. If anybody you want to stay around and fight forever until the end, like it shows you how much of a coward he is. Jacob, when he wrestled with that angel, he said, nah, I refuse to quit. You gonna bless me. He ain't quit. What the adversary, the devil do? Oh, do this, do that. Nah, all right, peace, I'm out. So if he left Yahshua, where it would have been game over if he finished him, who am I? That he gonna hang around me? What made me so important? So I'm just another piece of firewood. So the fire, that's all I needed was his piece of fire for the firewood. Now I got a fire. We ain't that important. So this is why he said, resist the devil. He's gonna flee. He's a coward every time. Every time he's gonna flee. Now, just like a muscle, when you build a muscle, you're not finna get swole with 10 pounds forever. You ain't gonna finna keep holding 10 pounds. You want to get bigger and stronger. You have more resistance. So the stronger he's trying to make you spiritual is the more resistance he's gonna require from you. So that means the devil gonna spar with you a little bit longer. The problem is a lot of us ain't even sparring. We dancing with the devil. He come in, we ready to dance with him.
Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 6. For whom Yahweh loves, he chastens and scourges every son who he receives. If you endure chastening, Elohim deals with you as with sons. For what son is he whom the Father chastens not? But if you be without chastisement, whereof all are partakers, then you are illegitimate sons, and not sons.
You like stepkids. When a stepdad see, man, hey, stop running in the house. You're going to hurt yourself. Nah. All right. Bam. I told the kid, he ain't going to say nothing to you. He don't care about you. If he treat you like a stepkid. But you have real fathers that have kids that are not theirs, and they getting on them. I know you. Well, you ain't my dad. I don't give a. You in my house. You're not finna do this. You're not finna disrespect your mother. You're not finna do none of this. Get the order properly. And they doing it out of love. That's love. Just because he let you, but what we do, we look, well, why he getting away? He get to do wickedness. Why he get to steal and rob? Why he get to do all that? He's making money. The white man getting rich. Why I can't do that?
Verse 9. Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh, which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits?
And that's so backwards. You know, especially Jamaicans, we take pride in the butt whoopings we got. Man, my daddy used to, we'll sit here and talk about stories. My daddy went on the 4th floor, jumped off the floor and came down with the belt right on my backside. Well, my daddy had a weightlifting belt. My daddy had Floyd Mayweather's belt because he used to train with him and he whipped me with that. And man, I love my daddy. But then Yahweh chastened us here. Why would God do that to me? Why would God make me suffer like this? My God wouldn't do this, but your daddy whipped your ass and he didn't care. He was a sinner, like what we say in here. Continue reading, jumping ahead.
Verse 10. For they verily for a few days chastened us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit, that we might be partakers of his holiness. Now no chastening for the present seems to be joyous, but grievous. Nevertheless, afterwards it yields the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby.
But you got to be patient and you got to trust the Father to get that peaceable fruit. When you plant a seed, you got to water it and do the works, and you got to trust that Yah is going to give you the sunshine, and Yah is going to give you the rain and the latter rain, and Yah is going to give you the increase. You got to trust that. But if you've never planted and you've never seen that grown, you're not going to trust that. You're going to feel like I got to go to Walmart because they ain't nothing finna grow here. You got to trust that. So you got to plant those seeds and you got to wait and you got to enjoy that peaceable fruit because it don't feel good to nobody. I don't care who you are. Ain't nobody likes chastening. Nobody likes it. Nobody says it feels good. If it feels good, we'd all be righteous. Every last one of us all the time. But you got to endure through that, just like working out or running. When you're running and you get that second wind, when you fight through that, and there's nothing, isn't that just an amazing feeling when you get that second wind? When you running and you're like, oh my goodness, I'm tired, I can't go no further. And you're like, nah, I gotta go. And you suck in that stomach and you get back up and you continue going and then you fight through it. And all of a sudden you start running faster. You're feeling good. You get that second wind. But if you never broke through that layer, you're not gonna understand that. So accept the chastening. Don't complain in it. Grow from it. Man up. Yaakov, man up to that chastening and take it and say, listen, Yah, I know you love me. You're not trying to you don't take pleasure in just hurting me for something that's not going to make me better or take me to the next level. He training us to be a king and we just want to be a prince. We want to be the pauper. We just want to be the joker. And he's like, nah, you're kings. I chose you out of all the nation. No, you're going to be kings. That means you're going to get in shape like that elder that was on the phone with his son. He was like, nah. You finna come in here, pick your pants up. You my bloodline. You going to do right or get beat down.
Now that you mentioned that, there's a few things that Yah told Abraham that gave me so much strength during the week. Like I just felt so empowered by it. This is Genesis chapter 17, verse 6 to 8. It says, I will make you exceedingly fruitful. I will make nations of you, and kings will descend from you. I will establish my covenant as an everlasting covenant between me and you and your descendants after you, to be your Elohim and the Elohim of your descendants after you. And to you and your descendants will I give the land of your sojourn, all the land of Canaan as an eternal possession, and I will be their Elohim. So he just pretty much said, like, look, I'm your Elohim, but I'm making a covenant that your descendants, even the ones that are being scattered into all the nations and carried around in ships, I'm going to be their Elohim forever. They ain't going to never have me as their Elohim. I'm going to be with them forever, even when the chastisement, even when the Gentiles of the nations are putting them through stuff, even when they taking your kids away in court, You see what I'm saying? I'm going to be your Elohim forever. Endure whatever comes, because it's the testimony and the witness that I'm building with you. You are my witnesses. You're the witnesses that you did wrong, and you're the witnesses that I'm going to lift you back up. You see what I'm saying? There was another one, Genesis 18. And Yahweh said, shall I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? Like, I'm going to tell him. Abraham will surely become a great and powerful nation. And through him, all the nations of the earth will be blessed. For I have chosen him, so that he will command his children and his household after him to keep the way of Yahweh by doing what is right and just. So there's a spirit on us to eliminate the wrongdoing out of your soul. There's a spirit on us to change your ways. There's a spirit on us to ignore what the Gentile is doing. Abraham told you and your seed after you these commandments that are still here, that y'all allowed the Gentile to preserve, so that we could read it again and it resonates in our DNA. Like, yo, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Brainwash me, just brainwash me, reprogram. Maybe I don't even remember what I was doing before. What's this word say? I'm gonna make a powerful nation out of you, for I have chosen him, so that he will command his children and his household after him to keep the way of Yahweh by doing what is right and just. I mean that the spirit of perversity should be removed out of our mouth and out of our lips and out of our lifestyles. Removed from the wives that we take. Removed from the women that stay around us. They can't feel comfortable doing slack stuff around the men that know what's supposed to be righteous. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
In order that Yahweh may bring upon Abraham what he has promised. You're not seeing this if you're not going to change your ways and start following these rules. You're not going to see it. Because not all Israel is Israel. So if that spirit don't come on you and it's a fire in your eyes to mend your ways and turn away from all that wickedness you were doing in the past, forget it. That must not be you. You must be one of these 2/3 that's getting cut off. You see what I'm saying? That spirit needs to be on you. You need to have a fervor and a thirst for this word. When you hear people saying unrighteous stuff, it should burn within your soul. Like, this is not what my DNA say. This is not the spirit that's on me. And the last one was Genesis 22:17. I will surely bless you, and I will multiply your descendants like the stars in the sky. They're not teaching you this in the church, that this is you, that the end goal fate of your people is what it's saying here. I will surely bless you and I will multiply you. White man think that's him. White man think that Moses put his hand in his bosom and it came back white again. No, something happened. Something crazy happened.
It's a miracle.
His hand was dark skinned. He put it in his jacket, and when he took it out, it was white, and he was shocked. Because if a white man put his hand in his bosom and take it out and it's white again, he'd be like, what?
That's a b-boy move, man.
I must be delusional.
That's a nice dance.
You know, let me go back to my family. I'm hearing things. You know, I heard him put my hand in my bosom and it's white, and some weird God talking to me. I must be going crazy. Let me get some psychotic medication. See what I'm saying? No, Moshe put his hand in his jacket. It came back out. It said it was leprous like a newborn baby.
No.
Black children, when they born, they ain't got no pigmentation on them. His pigmentation left him. This is you. This book is about you. And the spirit that he promised Abraham is supposed to descend upon you, so that you could deliver your people out of whatever they're in right now and stand up for them and stop just, woe is me. We're in captivity. We can't do nothing. No one can be blessed on us until Yahweh come back. So it doesn't mean just be wicked. It says, I will surely bless you and multiply your descendants like the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will possess the gates of their enemies. Ain't none of the rest of these nations been shipped out wholesale. We got enemies, people. These people are your enemies. And it says we're going to possess the gates of our enemies. And through your offspring, all the nations of the earth will be blessed because you have obeyed my voice. And then verse 29, Deuteronomy 29:22, it says, so the generation to come of your children that rise up after you, and the stranger that shall come from a faraway land shall say, when they see the plagues of the land and the sicknesses which Yahweh has laid upon it. So even if we're disconnected from the patriarchs that originally got the promise, we supposed to wake up and be like, how did I end up in this? How come I don't have the same opportunity that they have? Why all these other nations can establish a store for anything they want? They can establish a store for the leather book on the cover. They can establish a store for rubber bands. They could establish a store that only deals with pinky nails. You got to go to the other guy down the street to deal with the pointer nail. And we can't even get one store started. They got a store that only deals with collars. You got to go to the other store to deal with a button, and they make all 5 of them are making $1 million revenues.
Right.
That's a curse upon you. The YAH is trying to provoke you to jealousy, to be like, why am I trying to be like everybody else? What has it ever done for me? It hasn't done anything for any of us. We're supposed to see every word in this book and be like, I need to change right now.
Come.
And that, where did I leave off? We're at Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 12. Yeah. Wherefore, lift up the hands which hang down and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. Follow peace with all men and holiness, without which no man shall see Yahweh.
So it says follow peace with all men, not just men you like, not just men that are keeping the commandments. And that peace is, I'm going to keep the commandments towards you, regardless of who you are. That's peace. It's going to be peace for me. It might not be peace for you. That's the peace that Yahshua said, I leave with you. I leave you peace, not the peace of the world. The peace of the world says, commit this iniquity with me, and you'll have peace. Things will be good. You have peace with the enemy. But that's a lie. The enemy going to turn around and kill you too. Because he going to say, oh, look, there's no hedge of protection around him. Go ahead, get him.
Verse 15, looking diligently lest any man fail of the grace of Elohim, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know how that afterward, when he should have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears.
And that's what people do. You watch them when they get convicted of the crime. Now they want to cry. What was that crying when you did the deed and crying out to the Father, forgive me, I repent, I'm a sinner, hitting your chest, I'm a sinner. Nah, you cried because you thought you was going to get away with it. Now the rude reality is, man, you didn't care. You despised your inheritance. And shalom, Darren Adjay. Shalom, sis Gishi Cole. Good to see you, family. Shalom, brother Lucas Cool. Good to see you, fam.
Verse 18, for you are not come unto the mount that might be touched and burned with fire, nor unto blackness and darkness and tempest, and the sound of a trumpet and the voice of words which voice they heard, entreated that the words should not be spoken to them any more. For they could not endure that which was commanded. And if so much as a beast touch the mountain, it shall be stoned or thrust through with a dart. And so terrible was the sight that Moshe said, I exceedingly fear and quake. But you are come unto Mount Sion, and unto the city of the living Elohim, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels.
So we are coming to Mount Sion, unto the city of the living Elohim. We worship the living Elohim. What the death, the grave, do we have to do with All Hallows Eve? Halloween, this is an outright worship of the dead. What do the living, even Yahshua said, man, let the dead go worship the dead. What are we doing with that? But we dressing up like whores and all this stuff, and, you know, dressing like pimps and all this stuff, thinking this is cool. It ain't cool, man. We got to come out these worldly ways, especially, you know, you a brew. You ain't got nothing to do with that, man. Go ahead.
To the general assembly and assembly of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, and to Elohim, the judge of all, and to the spirits of just men made perfect, and to Yahshua, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the blood of sprinkling that speaks better things than that of Abel. See that you refuse not him that speaks. For if they escaped not who refused him that spoke on earth, much more shall not we escape if we turn away from him that speaks from heaven, whose voice then shook the earth. But now he has promised, saying, yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven.
So looking at all those brothers that refused to listen to Moshe, when Moshe said, look here, man, I did this miracle. You see what time it is? Daddy say time is up. Let's go. You gonna come here and be a sovereign nation and be the kings of the earth. And we did not listen to him. And none of those people escaped. Everybody 20 years and over that left Mizraim, that did not listen, all of those people died. So what makes us think when somebody's speaking from heaven through his word, Yahshua, the word in flesh, makes us think we're going to escape, and he didn't miss not one. Go ahead.
Verse 27, and this word yet once more signifies the removing of those things that are shaken, as of things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain.
What's this word?
His son.
Khan, his son. Son, that was created in the beginning. He spoke that word, which is life, the light of man. He spoke that word in the beginning. You can't remove that. You can't change that. You can't hide from that. Go ahead, Art.
Wherefore we, receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace whereby we may serve Elohim acceptably with reverence and awe. For our Elohim is a consuming fire.
So he's a consuming fire. So if he's a consuming fire, you're going to see what manner of material you are, because that's going to consume. And when it consumes, if you are a vessel made of dishonor, you're going to be consumed. But if you are made to withstand, to live forever, you're going to come through the fire, and everything that is consumable on you is going to leave. And that's supposed to be the death in you, because he's trying to set us up to live forever like he lives forever. So that means he got to put you in the fire, and all this death that you put on you, all this sin, that all this extra weight you put on you, said, no, get rid of all that, because that's going to, I'm getting rid of death. And if you holding that death, you gone with it. So that's why we get put in the fire, so it can burn off those impurities, get rid of all those stuff. But if you keep tacking it back on, when it comes to the point where we said, all right, death is thrown in the lake of fire, and you still got it, that's it. So this is the opportunity, this is the mercy that he gives us, that he allowed us a time frame and a period of time to say, I'm going to do the best you can. I know you can't reach that spot way in the back there. You trying, your arm don't go there. I got that. But I better not see this thing right here in front of you. You have something?
You know, I was just thinking to myself, like, you know, like all this week, you know, that script kept resonating in my mind. Like whenever things would try to like make me behave less than what I'm called to be, it's like, man, I got the spirit of Abraham on me, man. You know, this is a spirit that y'all promised unto us. Like, let me stop giving heed to anything less. You know, so, you know, Gentile come or stuff happen, try to get you out your element. Like, man, that's not the spirit of Abraham.
Calm.
Let me walk in the spirit of uprightness that's supposed to lead nations. And just because I don't have, you know, the audience, or I don't have the platform and a bunch of people not seeing that, oh, I'm trying to mend my ways, that don't mean I should stop or not put as much fervor into it. My own personal testimony is being watched by the Most High. It says a man's ways are in full view of Yah. You know, so I don't have to be on TV literally to know that in the heavens Yah is looking at everything. He know my blood pressure. You know what I'm saying? Right. He know my beats per minute right now. He know how much urine is in my bladder right now. He know how many hairs in my head are on my head. He knows more going on with me than I know. You know, and we can't sit and try to trick Yah and like use subtlety to try to get by. Like it's all in front of him. So we need to make a decision now. Am I gonna walk after him, after the spirit that he promised to me and my descendants, or I'll just forfeit it and follow the world? I mean, the world has never benefited us for anything.
It says the sins of Yehuda are written with a pen with a diamond tip. You know, the eyes of Yah are forever on his people, and we are naked before him. So it's like you know, a baby being butt naked and trying to act like he wiped his behind. No, you didn't.
You didn't.
You smell like doo-doo. Did you wipe your butt? You know, you have your little babies. You know, they be 3-4 years old, and you be like, "Did you wipe your butt?" Yes. No, you didn't. I can smell it. It's still there. But that's a baby. You a grown man, and you still thinking you gonna hide from Yah, the one who made you. And the thing is, he don't even have to see it, because at the end of the day, before you did it, he saw what was in here. He knows what's in your heart. That's why he knows what you're gonna do. That's why we got to work on this. We got to work on that. And the first thing we can do to work on that is we got to acknowledge that it's wicked. So now we know something is bad. If you know you got a bad engine or you got a bad car, what do?
Either you fix it or you get rid of it and get a new one.
Right. You got to go to problem and go in there and start doing. You don't just ignore it. Well, you know, I know my transmission is bad, but let's take that trip to Canada and just keep driving. What you think gonna happen?
I'm not gonna make it.
It's gonna shut down and you might destroy the whole car. The car shut off on the highway going 80 miles an hour and you run off in a ditch. So we got to be real with ourselves and see, we want to see the finished product before the finished product. YAH's the only one that sees the finished product, and that's the problem. And that's why we can't also try to see the finished product in our brother and sister and judge them on the finished product. We don't know the finished product. But we got to help them polish it and change it. But you can't help somebody. Why somebody want to listen to you? You're not trying to deal with your own stuff. You ain't acknowledging your own stuff. You hindering your brother. Just hinder yourself if you're going to do that. Don't hinder your brother too. We finished that? All right.
Yep.
Let's move on. Let's go to Daniel chapter 3. And you know, I know we've all read these stories, but sometimes we need to remind ourselves of the stock. Like you said, Abraham, the stock that we come from. Stop thinking like you like these Gentiles. These people only go back maybe 1,000 years and you don't see them. We ancient. We come from a line of some real brothers and sisters. To the point Exodus chapter 2 starts out talking about the kind of women that brought us into this world. They over there like having the baby before the midwives even get there. So your black behind could live. That's the kind of women you come from. So if you come from that kind of women, how you going to come out like a punk? No, they're not like the Egyptian women. They're lively women. So a lively woman had a punk child? Even these lively women are raising up men. Some of these women are raising up men. Look at LeBron James. Where was his dad? But look how he carried himself. He put more people through college than a lot of brothers that had mothers and fathers. It take a Hebrew woman to do that. In Ohio? Have you been to Ohio? Have you seen anything about Ohio? Bro, you made it if you came out of there, bro. Ain't nothing in Ohio. You ain't talking about New York. You make it there, you can make it anywhere. No, you talking about Ohio. Only thing came out of Ohio was the players. With the Ohio players or whatever.
Daniel chapter 3, verse 1. Nebuchadnezzar the king made an image of gold whose height was 60 cubits and a breadth thereof of 6 cubits. He set it up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king sent to gather together the princes, the governors, and the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces to come to the dedication of the image which Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. Then the princes, the governors, the captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the provinces were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up, and they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up.
So here you see this is big gold giant idol that he set up, and it's supposed to represent the might and power of Babylon. And he's calling all the princes and everybody and all the rulers and everybody who's in position of authority to come and worship this and admire this magnitude and might. So we say, I would never do that. I don't care about no piece of thing. But we do that when America says 4th of July, New Year's. You know what I'm saying? They say, look, come, and all the president does his parade and everything, and they bring all this stuff to say, look at this magnitude, this country that in a few hundred years rules the world. Come celebrate that. And we right over there, jumping in there, shooting off in the air, doing everything to celebrate this wickedness, not knowing it ain't worth nothing. Nothing. It has not produced anything good but us. That's it. And they don't even get credit for that because they try to kill us off. Nothing.
Verse 4. Then a herald cried aloud, to you it is commanded, O people, nations, and languages, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king has set up.
So when they play that Christmas music, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Then all of a sudden we fall down in worship. We start bowing down to this tree and putting gifts and spending off our savings, and we starting accounts, Christmas accounts, so we can buy presents because white man done told us to do this. But we not starting accounts to put our kids through college, or to fund our children's business ideas, or to help my child get out of debt, teach them credit. No, we ready to teach our children how to be in debt. Go ahead.
Verse 6, and whoso falls not down and worships shall the same hour be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. Therefore at that time, when all the people heard the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and all kinds of music, all the people, the nations, and the languages fell down and worshipped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up.
So I'm not finna be a hypocrite. I'm gonna keep it real. I would hope that I would have the spirit and the power to deny that, like these brothers that we're gonna read. I have not been in that situation, so I can't sit here and tell you what I would do. I can tell you what my spirit would want to do. But ain't nobody putting nothing against me to keep the Sabbath day, to not eat certain things, to try to repent when I realize that I'm wrong. Ain't nobody trying to kill me. I'm not resistant to blood. So I don't have an excuse, especially if I'm blessed enough to have a brother or sister around me to say, hey, bro, that's not right. Or, hey, consider your actions and make sure what you're doing is right. Go ahead.
Verse 8, wherefore at that time certain Chaldeans came near and accused the Yehudim. They spoke and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. You, O king, have made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falls not down and worships, that he should be cast into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. There are certain Yehudim, Jews, who you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
So that's Mishael, Azariah, and Hananiah. Those are their real names. So let's try to use their real names and not give no credit to Babylon.
These men, O king, have not regarded you. They serve not your gods, nor worship the golden image you have set up.
And the reason we want to do that is we want to also show that this is the way of the heathen. They take your name, which gives glory unto the Most High, and they change your name to glorify their pagan gods. So we've seen that pattern in every captivity we're in. What makes us think it's different? When they took Yahshua, at minimum should have been Joshua, and changed it to Jesus. And then we the only religion in the world who named a God God. And you say, Islam just an offshoot of Christianity because they did the same thing. They call their God Allah, which is God in Hebrew. Every other pagan god, they got 15 names. We just read them. Chemosh and Milcom and all these other gods. They all got names. But then when it comes to this, all of a sudden our God name is God? An ancient God? They changed the names. And this is why you changing the culture and you're taking away the power. You're not respecting the Most High when you're using a name for him or his son that was glorifying another pagan god and was 100% not his name, not even a proper translation. Doesn't even mean the same thing. It's not even a synonym.
Verse 13, then Nebuchadnezzar in his rage and fury commanded to bring Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spoke and said unto them, Is it true, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, do not you serve my Elohims, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? Now if you be ready, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music, you fall down and worship the image which I have made, well. But if you worship not, you shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that Elah that shall deliver you out of my hands?
So these brothers, their life is being threatened. But these brothers sticking to that Yah code. Yah said, I will not fall down and worship no other God. that doesn't exist. I'm going to worship the air. I'm not going to worship something that doesn't exist, it's not real. At least the air is real. But you want me to worship something a man that was created? And these were people that were given a position of authority. We would sell out just to keep the job, so that we can be raised above our brethren. They're not only going to lose their job, they're going to lose their lives. And this is captivity. When you're in captivity and then your captors say, okay, I'm going to put you above, you ain't going to be like the rest of the slaves. Most people flocking to do that. But they not with that. So when we feel weak and we want to just sell out and we want to go into the system, think about these brothers, man. Think about the stock that we come from. We come from this type of stock. Think about where your ancestors, we know how they say your father would turn over in his grave if he saw this.
Yeah.
Think about how the ancestors, because you're going to have to face these ancestors one day. When the resurrection comes up, these people going to be there judging you. It says we're going to judge angels. So they're going to be looking at you and be like, bruh, you know what I had to go through? And you telling me you couldn't do this so you didn't lose $2 an hour? He ain't trying to hear that.
Verse 16. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer you in this matter. If it be so, our Elah whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of your hand, O king.
And that's when he says, be careful for nothing. It's nothing to be careful about. Yah said this is what it is. And if this is Yah's will, that this is what happens to me, that's what's going to happen. But I don't believe so, because I believe this is the test. I believe the Most High put this spirit in me because it's in me. It's in me to continue doing it. I should just be afraid and cower like everybody else, but I'm not. So that means the Most High has put me in this position to stand up. Go ahead.
Verse 18. But if not, be it known unto you, O king, that we will not serve your gods, nor worship the golden image which you have set up.
So either way, y'all gonna get his glory. He gonna deliver us, or if not, you gonna know you ain't got no authority over my Elohim. I worship a living Elohim. You worship a man that finna die in a few years. Go ahead.
Then was Nebuchadnezzar full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Mishael, Hananiah, and Azariah. Therefore he spoke and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Mishael, Hananiah, and Azariah, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took up Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
The same thing you would have happen to you, happen to somebody else, unrighteousness, that's what's going to happen to you. And that's exactly what happened to these brothers. Go ahead.
And these 3 men, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished and rose up in haste and spoke and said unto his counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of this fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the son of Elah.
The son of Elohim or Elah. And notice we use those different terms. We see in Elah instead of Al or instead of Elohim when we go into captivity. So we fighting over all these enunciations and pronunciations of word. When you see every time we go into a captivity, we using different things. We using different names. Now all of a sudden we got names for the other months. But 3 of them went in there. Now we see 4. Go ahead. And how they know what the son of Elohim looked like. Go ahead.
Then Nebuchadnezzar came near to the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spoke and said unto Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, You servants of the Most High Allah, come forth and come here. Then Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, governors, and captains, and the king's counselors being gathered together saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, Nor was the hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them.
Does not Yah have control over every single element that was ever created? Of course he does. Because he is all of that. So that's just like me saying, nah, I don't want to do that. I can easily do that. That's my arm. He can control everything. He makes laws so it goes according to his order. If he wants to change the order of things, he got the power to do that. So you believe in man has all the power to do something because you've seen something. But if you believe in a greater power, you know that he has all the power in the world. But see, we don't want to do those things because we're afraid we're not going to get the outcome that we want. But you saw these brothers, they said, look, I believe he's going to save me. But if he doesn't, I want you to know that I kept these commandments, that I'm not going to allow you to push me off of the goal because I understand what the goal is. This is why they don't give us the goal. They don't tell us what the goal is. The goal is to live forever. Instead, they give us a different goal that don't exist. Like, yeah, if you be good and you put money in this plate, you're going to go up into heaven. Then you got another one, you're going to have 7 virgins. You're going to, they making up all this different stuff. That ain't going to happen. That's the devil's trick. He offering you stuff he can't give you like he did Yashra'al. Look here. All of this is mine. I'll give it to you. And you talking to the person who created all this. Are you kidding me? How you going to give me what belong to me? That's the devil's bargain.
Verse 29. Therefore, I make a decree that every people, nation, and language would speak anything amiss against the Elah of Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no other Elah that can deliver of this sort. Then the king promoted Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah in the province of Babylon.
Then Yah turned around and promoted them even further. Now, Nebuchadnezzar don't get no credit for that. Yah promoted them. That was their test. That test, like you said, some you asked to go a mile, some you asked 2 miles. He's not going to ask a dude who's already struggling with his basic stuff to go do that. But what if that's given for you? What if that is your charge, but you never build up that kind of strength? Yah says you're supposed to be moving mountains, but you stuck moving, valet cars outside because you refuse to keep the commandments. You figure you can get a little extra tips by doing this, so you doing that. Nah. You got to yield up that body. You got to give up that body for whatever he gives you. And just expect to do a lot of suffering because we did a lot of sin. Didn't we feel good in that sin? We felt great when we were doing all that wickedness. So it's got to combat. This is why he goes against being too lustful for pleasures all the time. Want to drink too much. Want to smoke too much. Want to have too much sex with too many different women. Want to fight all the time. Want to yell all the time. Want to always party. Don't want to ever do nothing serious. Don't want to exercise. Don't want to fast. Don't want to do any. Don't want to accept chastening, because you're not gonna do the hard work. You're not gonna accept the chastening.
Aki, and it's not everyone is moved, by being beat over the head, and not everyone is moved by soft words. But something I wanna do my best to do is be a healer. And not on no miraculous type vibe like I had mentioned last time, but be a healer in the sense of how are we going to restore our people and begin to strengthen and invoke confidence and inspire confidence and allow people to feel good in walking in these commandments, because it's not easy to move from one paradigm to the next.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you're used to doing things and your employers like you the way they saw you, and then all of a sudden you come in and you got fringes on and they're like, what's going on with this guy?
All this thing on your face. What's all this hair hanging off your head?
Clean up, buddy. Where's your beard, bro? It's not the easiest thing, but we can all sympathize with that challenge in the beginning. Because your heart is cleaved onto the way you were doing things before, but take comfort in the other servants who took those few steps, and now we don't even think about it. Like certain things in second nature, like the Sabbath is supposed to be kept holy. Right. Like holy days show up. These are the last little bit of links we have to Yah that we want to keep alive and show that we understand we were dispersed. We understand that we're not going to be able to rise up by the same means that the rest of the Gentiles are doing. We understand that you're not going to give us the freedom we need or the freedom that we desire through the means of the Gentiles, but through the words of this book. So,
Right.
you know, we implored everyone to, you know, take heart. If it's too hard, those first few steps, start with just a lot of prayer. You got to build a relationship with Yah. The reason why it feels like he's not hearing you at the beginning, because you don't have a relationship.
Right.
You can't just marry some female that's not sitting in the couch. You like, let's go upstairs. You got an imaginary blow up doll. Like, you know, you have to start getting that relationship with Yah. You know, understanding that, you know, I don't even know the first reference. I don't know if you helped me get up this morning. I don't know if you helped me avoid a car accident today. Start with the prayer aspect. Understand the things he says in his word, the spirit of joy, peace, kindness, temperance, patience, and entertain those things, and those things start cleaning the mind, because our minds be dirty. There's a lot of filth that we're taking place in, not only physically with the shrimps and the lobsters and the stuff that we just love, that we can't do without, and then when we're sick, we're blaming everything else. Oh, the radiation from the sun. No, you love eating unclean meat. Those things come with parasites.
Right.
They create a lot of maladies in the body. You know, but that same thing happens spiritually. You entertain too many lusts and too much fornication, minds get stubborn. You're not thinking correctly no more. There's spirits dealing with you. You didn't know covenant. You're legion. You understand? Mm-hmm. And we all had to go toward Yah. That's like how everybody had to submit to Yahshua. You man got 7,000 demons. He convulsing the people scared of him. Yahshua. That the thoughts and the understanding that he brings that clarity. You begin to think normal again. You know, you understand that when your woman is getting on your case, you don't tell her, yeah, just get out. No, you understand, you know, come talk to me. You know, tell me what you've been feeling. We start thinking properly again. But the diseased mind can't think properly. Everything good it gets, it perverts it. Everything good it gets, it interprets it completely wrong. And we can't go out and think we're going to drive drunk, that we're going to get home safely. You're not. You need time to sober up. So this is how we're going to do our best to administer the healing process. Understand where people are coming from. Understand that it's hard, and sympathize with that and empathize with that, and be counselors for them to move them from that first step to the second step, so that in the next season they're actually going to 1 mile. We didn't ask you to go to 2. No one pushes you. No one is forcing you to go 2 miles with complete strangers you don't know. That's what you take up on yourself. But those who are servants, you know, we implore those who've been broken, who going through wrestling with Yah, conversations with him, like, Yah, why you let this happen? You know, like, who have that built relationship, help others build that same relationship. Because it's not just for you, it's for the whole nation. All the nations of the earth are supposed to be blessed because of the relationship you allowed yourself to have. So don't downplay the truth of what's happening. It's real. And encourage your brothers and your sisters to do the same.
Con. And, you know, you said that, you know, you want to do this healing, you know, not by miracles, you know, which I know you meant like, you know, I'm just going to touch you and you just magic. But that's a miracle. This is the miracle that what you're doing, what you're taking part of, is the miracle that Yahshua talked about. He said, you're going to be doing greater things than me. Yahshua had to turn water and wine for people to be like, oh my goodness, that man, I got to listen to him. You know, we weren't even, we were sinners. This man was perfect. That's miracles when you get a stubborn, stiff-necked people that have been in slavery for all these years, and you get just one of them to repent. Just one. Just look at the numbers. If it say 2/3 of us are going to be stiff-necked and not repent, and you get just one to repent, one to go take that bath, and to walk and try to help somebody else, man, you hit a heck of a number. Now, don't get comfortable in that number, but understand the deed that you have done. That's a miracle. That's the power of Yah. All praises and glory unto the Most High Yah through the Son Yahshua. Those are miracles, and you are doing miracles by even trying to set out and do that and believe that you can do that. Let's go to Daniel chapter 6 for the conclusion.
Daniel. What was Daniel's real Hebrew name? Was it Daniel? They renamed him Belteshazzar, right?
Yeah, okay. Belteshazzar.
Daniel chapter 6. It pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. And over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, that the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. This Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king's thought to set him over the whole realm.
So your righteousness will work also within an environment that's outside of righteousness, because naturally the way we handle things is going to be beneficial. It's going to produce fruit. Go ahead.
Then the presidents and princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault. For as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him accord concerning the law of his Elah, his Elohim. Then these presidents and princes assembled together to the king, and said thus unto him, King Darius, live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall ask a petition of the Elah or man for 30 days, save of you, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lions.
So it's easy to manipulate somebody that's an egotistical person, because all you have to do is boost them up, like, oh, nobody can go against you, so hey, you should do this. Now that makes it even more of a decree that nobody can, because you're God. Because when Yah says something, it don't change. So you're gonna make this man be like a god by saying you said something so it can't change. Go ahead.
Verse 8, now, O king, establish the decree and sign the writing that it be not changed, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alters not. Wherefore King Darius signed the writing and the decree. Now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day, and prayed and gave thanks before his Elah, as he did aforetime.
Okay, so it's not that he's just trying to go against man's law. This is what he normally did. He prayed 3 times a day, just like Dawid did. Evening, morning, and noon do I pray. He prayed 3 times a day, and he's facing towards Jerusalem. So being that he's in Babylon, he is east of Jerusalem. So which direction is he praying?
To the west.
He be praying to the west. We are Western world, so we pray to the east. This is why we always say, turn to the east. We praying towards Jerusalem. We're not praying towards the sun. We praying towards the temple. If we were over there, then we pray the other direction. So that's the understanding of praying towards Jerusalem. It's not praying towards a specific direction, like we worship in that direction. We following the instructions of the Most High.
Verse 11. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his Elah. Then they came near and spoke before the king concerning the king's decree. Have you not signed a decree that every man shall ask a petition of any Elah or man within 30 days, except of you, O king, shall be cast into the den of lions? The king answered and said, the thing is true, according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which alters not.
See, now they playing stupid like, hey, didn't you sign some kind of law that did? That's so obvious. They trying to amp this man up. Mm-hmm. They knew that. Why didn't you just say, hey, look, this Daniel guy, he's praying. And well, the king might say, well, he's doing that before. He's cool. But nah, you setting him up. Didn't you say that? You right. I said that. Well, Daniel was, oh, man. Now the king's sad. I done got tricked. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. Then answered they and said before the king that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Yehuda, regards not you, O king, nor the decree that you have signed, but makes his petition 3 times a day. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased within himself, and his heart, and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him, and he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king establishes may be changed. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spoke and said unto Daniel, Your Elah whom you serve continually will deliver you. And the stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den, and the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his princes, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. And the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting. Neither were instruments of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very early in the morning and went in haste unto the den of lions. And when he came to the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spoke and said to Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living Elah, is your Elah, whom you serve continually, able to deliver you from these lions? Then said Daniel unto the king, O king, live forever. My Elah has sent his angel, and has shut the mouth of the lions, that they have not hurt me, forasmuch as before him innocency was found in me, and also before you, O king, have I done no hurt.
So the same Elohim that took these animals that were alive, that we used to be able to talk to and weren't eating, weren't killing, was nothing that going around, he put a spirit on them to make them shed this blood to atone for these sins that are going on in the earth. He has the same power to stop that. Just like he stopped the sharks from biting Saul when he was in the shark-infested ocean. Just like he stopped the snake venom from killing him. He has the power to do all these things. And when we lack the belief in that, it's like, how many times do we have to be delivered? We were put here for a purpose. We're here for his purpose. And the quicker we understand that, listen, we're here for his purpose, we can try to direct our steps to meet his purpose. And you know when it's his purpose, when the choice is don't do what is right or do what is right. And if it works in your favor, all this glory goes to the Most High. That's a no-brainer. But we're not going to pass those kind of tests if we won't even walk 1 mile with your brother. You're not going to pass the 2-mile test. You ain't finna just all of a sudden run 2 miles. You can't run 400 yards. You can't take 1 lap around the track. That means you got to practice and keep putting yourself. And y'all not finna take somebody who just found out they was Israel yesterday and put him to go through the Job test. Nobody does that. You don't play a video game. You remember the little Mike Tyson punch-out game? You didn't put it in there. Then all of a sudden, you fighting Mike Tyson. Nah, you had to go through Glass Joe. What's his name? Glass Joe, right? The dude with the glass jaw. You had to go through the easy guy where you could just and he get knocked out. You ain't finna beat Tyson like that. So you got to go on that journey. You never going to reach Tyson unless you keep going through that. That's probably, I just aged myself. He was like, who is Tyson? Was that the chicken fingers or something? What is he talking about?
Daniel chapter 6 and verse 23. Then was the king exceeding glad for him, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he believed in his Elah.
Because he believed. How do you know he believed? Because his actions show that he believed. We all say that, I believe in Yah. I believe. But if you believe, why don't you believe what he said when he said, keep the commandments, that you are going to keep the commandments? He said, you shall, you will, you shall not. When you listen to that, you believe his word. But you try to make him a liar when you don't keep his command.
Verse 24, and the king commanded, and they brought those men which had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of lions. Them, their children, and their wives, and their lions had the mastery over them, and break all their bones in pieces, or ever they came at the bottom of the den.
So the same thing you wanted to have to do to this righteous servant was the same thing that happened to you. Not only you, it didn't say take Daniel's kids and throw them in there. Now, your decisions as a head of a household can cause your own children and your wives to be destroyed. So we got to consider that, men. We got to stick to that Yah code, because our families ride on this, on our every decision. So these men, because of and these might have been, women that didn't necessarily, the kids probably didn't do nothing. But guess what? That bloodline had to be cut off because it was wickedness in that bloodline. Finish that up, Al.
Verse 25, then the king Darius wrote unto all the people, nations, and languages that dwell in all the earth, peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in every dominion of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the Elah of Daniel, for he is the living Elah, and steadfast forever in his kingdom, that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. He delivers and rescues, and he works signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who has delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. So this Daniel prospered in the reigns of Darius and in the reigns of Cyrus the Persian.
So we were in captivity. I think it was 70 years with this one, right? It was 7 years the first one, and then 70 years the second time. So we're in captivity, and the righteousness of a few now set us up to go back into our land. And we are in this very same state right now, because it's only going to be a few of us that are going to be righteous and have that faith and actually believe. So our very righteousness could be the one to say, look, man, their Elohim is real. That's the Elohim of everything. Look, I make a decree. Whoever mess with these Hebrews need to be thrown in a burning fire. Because I'm not trying to have my place destroyed, because I ain't going against that God. My God is this little statue right here. He ain't do nothing. He ain't stop nothing. So we're in that position. We are literally in that position right now where we can be the ones to set it off, or we can leave here with great substance. We just don't know when it is, and we need to act like it's now. So that's all I'm going to do today. Any last questions or comments before we close in prayer? All right. Let's go ahead and end in prayer. All brothers remove their head coverings, and all sisters pray with their heads covered. And we're going to face the east towards Jerusalem, where our temple was and where our temple returned. Didn't get the Bible, did it? All right, as long as we didn't get the Bible, we'll be all right. All right, Brother Jonathan, can you do us the honor, please?
Heavenly Father, Yah, we come before you, O Yah, in gratitude and thanksgiving, in humility as well, O Yah. Thanking you, Yahweh, for the opportunity to even come forth and bear a testimony before you, O Yah. We fought the battle in the womb, O Yah. We made it unto this earth, and we come before you, Yahweh, knowing that we came out the womb naked, and we'll go back unto the earth with nothing, O Yah. But we know that we shall build this testimony that we began with you, knowing you, calling upon your name and believing in the name of your Son, O Yah, that you sent to be a propitiation for our sins. So we pray, O Yah, that you give us life, but not only that, but you give it more abundantly from the knowledge of the word that you sent in flesh, O Yah. We thank you, O Yah, and we pray you continue to bless our souls and bless our minds and bless our understandings. Be with us and be with our families, and help us all to shine your light into all these nations. In the name of Yahshua we pray. Amen.
Amen.
You sore?
Bro, my leg, my stomach.
From that punches, right?
Bro, those are some piercing punches.
Oh my gosh.